Good afternoon, Dr. Mack. Hello again.
Hello.
It's so good to see you. And Dr. Mack, would you please do our greeting and our prayer?
All right. Well, welcome everyone to the Mothers Board. We are so happy to have you with us today. And if you're joining us for the first time, we don't want you to be shy. If you have a comment, just type it in the appropriate space and let us know. If you will, we'll say a short prayer. Father, we thank you for today, and we thank you for the privilege of sharing with those who or listening. We are not trying to change minds. We're not trying to indoctrinate. All that we are trying to do is to share our point of view. And Lord, as is right, if there are those who disagree and share, and we will come to a common understanding. But the idea, Lord, is to make people aware. Some of these we know you know, but then there are others that you may not have thought about. Thank you for joining us. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Dr. Mack. I know God heard that. Oh, yes. Oh, we have so many great discussion topics today, and I am so excited about getting into them. So much is happening each and every microsecond in this world.
Amen.
And
Amen.
we, we can't discuss all of them, but we can work on them.
Put them out there anyway.
Yes. Oh,
As they
yes.
used
And go
to
ahead
say in my little Baptist church, we'll take it to the altar and leave it there.
and leave it there. That's right. And so we have a great discussion question here. And I looked at that. I said, what did you gather from the comments made by the commander in chief on Air Force One when he said, maybe I will,
That's right.
maybe I won't. Nobody knows what I'm going to do during his return from the G7 summit. Do you want to start? You want me to start?
Now I want you to start because I thought about you. When he made it, I said, oh no, he shouldn't have said that.
And you know what?
Pastor Shirley's going straight.
It's just what he said.
That's true.
Maybe I will, and maybe I
Maybe.
won't. Nobody knows what I'm going to do. And I'm going to leave mine there because I totally agree with him.
Oh no, 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 no. Seriously, no. I want you to know. I
I
need
agree
you
with
to
him.
know.
Maybe he will, maybe he won't. He doesn't know.
And well, nobody knows.
Right?
But since he's landed, and I know he's had at least four, maybe five sessions with his Security Council
Uh
uh,
huh.
people, and he left out Tracy Gabbard this time because apparently she is not one of the trusted ones on this particular subject. But I want you to know, even if it's wrong, don't leave me hanging, as the kids would say. Just, yeah, are you leaning this way? Just, well, what are you thinking? Because none of us know. He's right. We don't know. But the part that gets me is I don't think he knows. That's the part that bothers me more than anything.
Exactly. That's
Do
why I
you
said
know?
I should have said I concur.
But I thought about it. I said, "Oh no, that doesn't raise confidence in the decision making process."
Uh huh.
I know who should be involved. Because it's it's been written, it's been done by all those who have come before you.
Uh
However,
huh.
you don't do things the way everybody else does,
Right.
which is why it makes it really important for us to know. And we need that. Maybe I don't. We need it gone. It should be there.
Maybe I will. Maybe I
And maybe
won't.
I won't.
Nobody knows what I'm going to do. Not
And that's
even
true.
me.
And he said, well, he didn't say that, but see, that's the part they got. I'm
And my
working it out.
camera is on the blink for a little bit here.
Yeah,
So yeah, so
but
that's
we'll keep going.
a great one. That's a great one. Maybe I will. I won't. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
That's
Reminds me.
important.
Oh, I'm not gonna say that because I'm being respectful and
Yeah, we're working on those for
do
the
unto
audience,
others
for
as
the offering. For
yes,
the for those of you who are new, we're working on that. We're
do
bridling
unto
it.
others.
We're bridling the tongue as was requested in the Bible.
Do you think that the president is aware that it will take an act of Congress to declare war against Iran or to become an active participant in this military operation? What is your
Oh,
answer?
my answer. I'm sure he has been told, but whether he's accepting that or deciding to go around it. But even today, there are several articles that remind him that you're going to have to go to Congress. This is not going to be one of those things that you decide in the middle of the night that you want to do. Get on Twitter or X and blast it out. You need to, by law, you need to take it before Congress. There needs to be a vote. I don't think he wants to hear the defensiveness. There are those who he's not. Some of those who are real close to him do not want to be involved in this. You know, we don't want to get into another situation in the Middle East
Oh
and go
my,
for years. We just don't want to lose any more lives over a
right.
situation.
There's so much turmoil already going on, wars,
Yes,
rumors of wars. And so that's why I am convinced that the scriptures are the truth
oh yeah,
because we see the signs of the times and it's happening. So, of course, he has been told.
yes,
And when you, well, the in any normal situation,
okay,
a candidate for the office of president of the United States or any other organization would read the rules, the regulations, the laws, and everything that pertain to that position. Normally they would. But and of course he knows. He knows, but because we know what the record is showing that usually whatever he presents to his colleagues, they okay it. But he knows. So if he decided that he wanted to do something, what is it I was saying the other day? What ask, do it, and ask for forgiveness later.
yes,
Uh,
yes. You
that's the
go
way
ahead
this
and
works.
take the action,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
knowing that it's wrong.
Knowing that it's wrong and it's ask for forgiveness later, and that's the way this is playing out almost all the time.
It's true.
And so, yes, he knows. But if he can go ahead and do what he's already been doing and get away with it, hey, that's what he does.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what he does.
I
Oh,
really hope he follows, follows this because, you know, we just need to get first of all we need to get away from that area, and second of all we need to think of the lives that the military men, the
hmm.
civilians. You know, this is not playing war. This is not a Nintendo game. This is real.
But remember what I've always been saying? I think the mind, a particular mind that we might be referencing to, referencing, sees life as a game
Yes, that's why I mentioned that.
on a board.
Yeah.
And he's playing. Okay, so when it's military time, you get all your little trucks and jeeps and all these cannons and things. You put those on the board and you play with them a while. When it comes to anything else, I believe it's seen like a game board.
Yeah, it's
And
sort of
yes, and I have to. And when I play this game, if I don't win, there will be no winners.
Right. A little.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like a somewhere between like a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old. Okay, I know I'm good at this game, and if I don't win, I'll take my marbles and go home, or I'll destroy the board.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but
Yes.
I'm gonna be the winner, one
And
way
when
or the
one way or the other, and when someone is used to calling the shots all the time and making sure that they've always been in their own position, creating
other.
their own things to do
That's
so that they can call the shots all the time, that's the mindset. So they figure, hey, I can do this wherever I go and in whatever I do.
that's true. That's true. You
Yes, ma'am.
know, that's the true definition of power. Because
Yes.
that's what, and the power is not rightly earned, but still the true definition of power.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so, okay, those are good. Governor Abbott appears to be making political stops in various cities throughout Texas to sign bills that were passed during the 89th legislature. Do you think that his travels are part of a quiet form of campaigning for his next position and or a recruitment tool for the Republican Party? I believe is it my time?
Yes. Yes,
Okay,
it is.
I believe it's both,
Okay.
all together. I do. I believe it is.
Yeah, I think I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
Although, if you were to ask the persons from his office, they would probably say something else.
Uh
But
huh.
I think it's, sort of show and tell. You know, these are
Yes.
the things that I wanted to do. These are the way. This is I was successful because I was able to pull these Republicans together, and he really did have to fight the Republicans. I mean, make sure they stayed as a voting block for what he
Yeah.
wanted. And let me show you what we accomplished. So that's sort of where I believe he is. And I mean, here we are. Where was it? Wichita Falls, and then back down here to Arlington, and then on down Central Texas. It's just like being on a campaign tour.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And
And I
so,
don't know what he's running for. We've talked about that before, and it doesn't matter. But you and I agree that he's running for something. He's
what else is
running.
there to run for? But
Oh, the congressional seats, I would think.
oh, I
Yeah.
don't think.
Because
You
he's been
think
in
he?
the judicial system before. Mm.
Right. Right.
I
Do you
forget
think
he's
he'd
a
be
lawyer.
satisfied with that?
I think so because you've got some former governors, like Kamala Harris's running mate was a former governor, and some of those that she looked at were former governors.
Mm-hmm.
They should be able to make that transition over to the federal government, but some of them come in there with like, I'm not sure what you did as governor mentality. I'm not sure.
Yes. And then it's just, and then you have to look at the age also.
Yes,
And so
yes,
if it's a certain age, then sometimes people feel like they don't have time to make another stop before they go for the top.
right.
Uh-huh. So but I believe it's campaigning
Mhm.
and what
Recruiting.
recruiting. Yes, I
Yes.
believe that. I believe that. Hey, if I was in that position and I had that mindset, I'd be doing it too. How about you? Hey, take that
It's the
time and
smart thing to do.
yes, because that's
Whether
what
you
they
like it
do.
or not, it is the smart thing to do.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
You
ma'am.
sent me back down there to be governor, and look, we're trying to fulfill these campaign promises. Whether they're good or bad, you're
Right,
still trying to fulfill them.
right. And I get a free ride off the citizens of Texas.
That's right.
Oh, yes. And get
I,
paid for it too.
yes. And you're going to make that little donation into the Republican Party.
Oh yes. So you know some fees are being paid, don't you? Membership fees.
Yes, I do.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, that's what they be called, membership fees.
I sort of like that phrase.
Because well, they say nothing is free.
Absolutely.
Now,
Absolutely.
nothing but salvation, and I'll stand on that now.
Yes.
Even though people try to sell it, but it is free. Oh, Dr. Mac, these are great. So let me get back to the page with them on it. All right. Now, there is, let me get on down here to, oh, I'm moving fast on these.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Are we?
It
Okay, let
should
me
be
go back up. Uh,
Colin Aldrich.
okay, right. And then you have the president's cabinet.
Oh, yeah. Let's take that.
Uh-huh. So it's this week appears to have been a difficult one for members of the president's cabinet, the Secretary of Defense, the Border Czar, Secretary of Homeland Security, etc., who were uh, asked to appear before congressional committee uh, hearings and or to answer questions from journalists. Do you think that their responses have been effective? Hmm.
No.
I'll
No.
I will piggyback off of you.
But we have them sitting in front of the congressional committees, not knowing basic information. You know, why did you want that position if you didn't even know the basics? You know, of what it was that you, if you and I are going into a meeting, we are going to anticipate some of the questions. Not only are they there as a one individual, but they got staff members who could prompt them on the questions. And what makes them worse than ever is that they have attitudes. You know, if you don't take what, if the congressperson doesn't take what they say, the headset is the absolute worst. And he should be better because he is a journalist. Um, you don't have the answer, don't stall or try to make up an answer. You have to just tell him that he really needs to start saying the president hadn't told me what to think about that yet. 'Cause we all know that's what we're waiting on. He hadn't told me. And here is the border guard who said, followed out the first directive, immigration, deportation, round up everybody. Okay, then here comes a new directive. Don't round up the farm workers. Don't round up the hotel workers. Don't round up the restaurant workers. That was a given. Doesn't his family own a lot of hotels? Don't you know you're going to need those people? But here's the body though, who's still there trying to do the original thing, round up everybody and deploy and get 3,000 persons per day. They're
My,
not making the numbers. And
they
I
have a
don't even
quota.
want to go with Homeland Security. This girl just stands there and tries to parrot what she was told, but then he leaves her out in the cold, with no support to her answers because they're silly and they're not right.
My goodness. Well, consider the source and the group, the what is it, the social group.
Yes.
And if you didn't know before you got in there, how much more will you know within a few weeks of after getting in there? And some people can't help others because a tunnel vision is just you see what's in front of you. You aim at a certain thing and you won't let anything distract you. You're going to go straight for that
That's
thing. And
true.
that's
That
what they're dealing with. So if you have tunnel vision, if I have tunnel vision, I'm not watching the sides and behind me. And so I can't help anybody else because I'm trying to go straight forward and try to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish. So everybody else is left out in the cold, the rain, the snow, and the sleet, and whatever else. And this is, you have to be, and this is what people don't understand. And I want to say that Uh, I, I'm really being nice. I want to be nice because I don't want to downgrade anybody. But some people, what did he said? Maybe I will,
Yeah,
or
right.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. And so I think that's the same thing here. You go for what you know. And many of these people are not prepared because Congress will, those people will grill and grill and grill. And even if you give the right answer and it's not the one they want, they're going to try to go around and get
Yeah,
another one to sound just like they want it. So when you go there, you have to be ready. And people were not ready when they got these positions. And so trying to, what is, I don't know, not manipulate, trying to navigate through these positions, trying to learn the positions because these are very serious positions, and you cannot learn this in 6 months.
that's true.
And
That's
so now the pressure's on. I've got to go here and I've got to answer questions about this, and they really don't know. And that's the thing about not being prepared. And hey, what does it say? What is it? Stay ready, but you have to get ready in order to stay ready to be ready.
true. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I might be going around in circles, but anyway,
No, no.
anyway,
What you're saying is true.
yes, and many of the people I know that some people, have you ever been into something, or maybe you were assigned something and you said, "Oh my goodness, how did I get into that?"
Yeah.
But to save face, you work through it and you hustle through it until you get to the end of it and complete it. And so I feel like that might be the things that are happening to these people.
It's like having to learn something. If you don't know, well, that's the way we were taught African American ethic. You know, if you don't know, you get ready to know. Burning the midnight oil. I used to hear the phrase and not understand it, but I did eventually learn it in my career. I mean, understand.
Uh
You
huh.
know, you were not going in there
Hmm.
to 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 answer questions or even make a presentation that you hadn't questioned yourself or allowed someone you trusted to question you so that you would be somewhat prepared. When these persons even sit down, you can see the tension, the physical cost because they don't know. And you see that they don't know.
Right. And then another thing, when they were in there, they have all kinds of conflicting information.
That's
This
true.
side is saying this, and this one is saying this. And then you find out many of these people have found some facts out that they would not dare reveal
Right.
about what's really going
Really
on. So,
going on.
I mean, I guess they probably have it from all sides.
I'm pretty sure
From
they do.
all sides. Yes, ma'am. And so, hey, do you feel like they were effective?
No.
Bless her.
And they'll be called back again because you've shown that weakness. You've shown that
My
knowledge
Lord.
based weakness. But I don't always blame them. Like I said, sometimes the information coming from the top is
Oh,
skewed or changes before it gets to you.
right, right.
And you're working on old data. That's
Maybe I
not
will. Maybe
okay.
I won't.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm going to do. And that's every day. Every day. And that couldn't be a very pleasant environment.
It isn't a work, I don't know if you've done that, but I have worked with several persons. Like I worked with those who were, this is the way it's going to be, and it
Mhm.
didn't change, even though it was wrong. Even though it was wrong,
Yeah,
but I've worked with the kind that we're experiencing now.
yes,
Okay, Lord, give me the strength to carry out this in the manner that's pleasing to you. That was
yes,
always my prayer. I'm not trying to please him. I'm trying to please her. I need to
right,
do it in a manner that's pleasing to you.
right.
Because it's
And,
my soul.
right. And then you had so many people. You had the teachers, the students, the
Yeah.
parents. and then the staff.
Community.
Besides the
Everybody in the
teachers,
community can
you had
come.
all of that to deal with, but evidently you did a bumper job.
Right. Praying through it, as they say.
Like you said, whatever the
Pray-
Lord blesses you to do, you pray to Him first, and that
Absolutely.
has to be done.
And I
Yes.
think that would help some of those people sitting in front of those
Oh,
congressional.
yes.
And they're ministers in Congress. That's what bothers me. You know, if you're a minister, you shouldn't take off your clergy just because you're going there. That's where the clergy should really shine out, stand and be different.
Okay. And you were talking about,
We were talking about the
was
members of
was it
Congress.
effective? Right.
Yeah,
And you
and
said
we're
you didn't
saying
think
it
that was
wasn't. It
right.
wasn't.
Right. Okay. Okay. And so, and it's not surprising either. And we just have to, and we have to, whatever side they're on, and this as well as those that are watching. Thank you, Lady Patsy. Thank you, Ollie. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. But there is so much these people have to go through, and don't know what the mood of the day, or the flavor of the day, or the Kool-Aid, whatever it is, from one day to the next. People have a lot, and if these people could tell some of the things they have to go through on a daily basis, people would not believe it. People would not believe it. But hey, we have to pray for them. Pray for them, whatever side they're professing to be on, Democrat, Republican, what is it, the
Inde-
liberals,
Independent.
yes, whatever it is, there is a load there. All right. So next we would go to, I want to talk about this church. We there are churches, and it is a business, and like the Bible tells us, in business be men. And I was watching, of course, the news, and I think it was yesterday they mentioned that the church staff is being laid off in a particular church where the
Yes,
pastor was
yes,
indicted in Oklahoma for
yes.
12 molesting a child when she was 12 years old, and even after that. And so now I saw where they are laying staff off. They're
Yes.
revamping, and I just want to read a little bit of this. And I understand, but hey, Greater Gospel Temple doesn't have that staff members like that. And according to what they're saying, they have I know they pay everybody, but
It's
usually
a
in
business.
our churches now we pay the musician, and then of course the tithing and offering. And the free will offerings and all that, they're divided with the church, and then we have our bylaws set up and everything like
Yeah.
that. But then these churches, they're big operations, and I saw this and I said, wow, they have all of that to deal with. And I wanted to go to that um, part where I had pulled it up about them. But anyway, they're revamping everything, and it's a Metroplex church, and I'm pretty sure most of the people have heard about it. And I just thought I wanted to bring that up. So, and then the other thing is that the former pastor, and they say this is part of it, is suing the church
Yes.
for
Yeah.
past wages and oh, here
And
it is. And so they're trying to revamp because the finances are not as they were, because some congregants left.
yes.
They're not getting as much tithing and offering, they state, so they have to do some cuts. And that's something when it comes, the church. I know it's a big organization, but my God, and then he's suing them too. Hey, so I don't know, I don't want to get off into the suit and all of that, because I it, we just have to pray, like I say, pray for everyone. Pray for everyone involved, that God will change hearts, minds, and do the things that should be done. In other words, we leave it in the hands of God.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Leave it in his hands. So,
or take it to the altar and leave it there.
and which is leaving
That's
it in the hands of God. Yes,
right.
yes,
I
ma'am.
put it there, and I
Yes,
know
ma'am.
you can handle it, so I'm walking back.
So, what do you feel about that?
Well, um, I saw the article too, and I realized that those very large staff members, but the church, even though it shouldn't be, it is a business, and when you staff it like a business, then you're going to have cuts like you would in the business world, and it will impact the persons. And they knew once this came out about the pastor and the when the pastor said he had sinned and the lady brought the lawsuit, they knew they were going to lose membership, thereby losing funding. And the truth is, because of the way the world is working now, um, they're trying to. I'm sure they're saying, that they believe that they're going to come out on top, but it's like recent Supreme Court rulings.
Mm-hmm,
The world is influencing how the outcome is.
mm-hmm,
But you pray that the church, which is a body of believers, those persons who were not there for the pastor,
mm-hmm,
they were there to hear the message given by the pastor, but not for the pastor. They didn't put him on a pedestal. That they'll stay, and keep the church going,
mm-hmm.
or find another church home that pleases them
Right,
even.
right. And people are disappointed, and
Yes.
then who knows if there are other people that have been and they never said anything.
Right.
we just don't know.
Right.
I and you can be disappointed. I remember once, and I have not said this to many people. You can believe, and you can, like you were saying, have your leader on a pedestal. They can't do any wrong or anything. And I saw something, and I don't look for wrong in people. I look for the best in
No.
everybody. But one day I saw something, and do you know, I thought the end of the world was going to come then, because I saw what I saw. And so I can understand how people can be disappointed, how they can be
Yeah.
shocked, to the point where some people will go home and not ever attend a worship uh, place anymore. People have done that. But I thank God for studying.
Mm-hmm.
And He says, study to show thyself
Mm-hmm.
unto God, a workman that needed not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. If I had not studied and kept on, along when the pastor was preaching, and then studying for myself to know that I am getting the word, not saying that he wasn't giving it, but I had to have an understanding and make sure
Mm-hmm.
and follow along. If I had not done that, it probably would have really had a terrible impact on me, because what I saw, God let me see it at the time, and I never said anything to anybody about what I saw. And I'm not even saying the person
Yeah.
that I saw, but some people you can believe in, you can believe that they can do no wrong because you don't think about them doing wrong. And
Right.
then when you're told you don't do this, you don't do that, you don't do this by people in the congregation, and then you see them doing that they're saying don't do, that can be very devastating. So anybody out here, let me tell you something. Just like God sustained me, He'll sustain you. So if you have been discouraged, if you have been hurt, don't give up on God, because God will not give up on you. And experiences come, trials come only to make us strong. So that, and then remember this now, I know this is not Greater Gospel Temple Saturday and Sunday, but it's me. There is no temptation known unto man, that God will not make a way for you to escape. And even if you get caught up in something that's not pleasing to God, He will give you another chance. But let me tell you, don't let people tell you you might as well give up.
Oh
Don't
no.
succumb to that thought in your head when the enemy of mankind is telling you you might as well throw in the towel. You're no good. You did this. There's no coming back from that. Please, 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 you can come back from that. All you have to do is repent to God first and believe that He heard you and He will restore you. Oh, yes, He will. And even if you're not in the church, don't give up. Don't give up. You are resilient. You are resilient. God made us so resilient till we shock ourselves sometimes at the things that we overcome. So, anyway, okay.
And remember your counseling? That's called spiritual abuse.
Oh,
We
yes.
talked about that so much.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, Sylvester's climbing in my chair.
Hey, Sylvester.
But
Yes,
that's called spiritual
yes.
abuse,
It, you know,
and maybe
yes,
we'll do a whole thing on spiritual abuse. But
right.
that's not on you when that happens,
Yes.
because you
But,
got to
but,
remember there's
but,
a God in
yeah.
heaven.
But the enemy can put so many things, and he
Oh
talking
yeah,
about the spiritual enemy, and we don't, our, we're not fighting against flesh and blood, but
no,
wickedness in high
high
places, spiritual
places.
wickedness,
That's
spiritual
right.
wickedness. So Satan he puts things in people's minds when people are down and out, when they've had these experiences, whatever experiences they've had that are negative and that impact their lives in a devastating way.
Right.
You still can come back from that. So please, please, please hear us. Don't give up, don't give in. And I quote William Beckton: be encouraged no matter what's going on. He'll make it all right, but
Yes.
you got to stay strong. And
Yes.
then when you get at a weak point, then the Bible also tells us to let the weak say, I am strong. Okay, Dr. Beck, we go.
Well, I'm thinking of Dr. Elder Bertha Don, and she would always remind me, said, "Don't forget that you're in spiritual warfare. As long as
Oh,
you're
yes.
breathing, as long as you're breathing, you're part of the spiritual warfare. So you
And
know to put on your armor. You know to
right,
do
the
that."
whole armor of God.
Mhm.
And that spiritual, you can't fight that carnally.
No.
No, no, no. Okay, doctor. Everybody, thank you for being here with us. But my heart, I love people so much, and I don't want anybody to give up. I would not dare tell all of the things that I've been through, but by the grace of God, I'm here today. It's by the grace of God.
Oh
So
yeah.
now, and I misspelled Juneteenth like I don't know what.
That's
But
okay. We
anyway,
know. We know. And
how
we
did
both had questions on Juneteenth. Different questions, but we had questions on
Yes,
Juneteenth.
right. And how did you commemorate Juneteenth? What did your celebratory meal consist of?
Oh, well. Wow. Well, first of all, from a little girl on, it was a special day for the family. So I grew up knowing about the 1865 and the reading of the the proclamation that freed those who were in bondage. And how did I do it this year? I did it in a very quiet way. Started out with the Buffalo Soldiers. Don't ask me why, but I have an affinity for them. But I watched several documentaries on Juneteenth.
Mhm.
I did additional reading on Juneteenth. I was elated that President Biden was going to speak last night at the what we call the Juneteenth church, because I just thought it was great that when the ex-slaves were told they were free, they were at the courthouse, the old courthouse, in Galveston, and they rejoiced. But guess what they did? They marched to the church that was right there that had been given to them to celebrate. And
Mhm.
there, according to the narratives, they had what they called a hallelujah time. They sang and they prayed and they danced, and they ate. But I also, as I was remembering and watching and reading, I couldn't help letting the shadow of Reconstruction, what happened after the celebration. There's always an after party, but this was not a good thing. And looking historically what happened that after that. But I always share the message of Juneteenth. I
Right.
was I was really glad that that the Opal didn't walk because the temperature was too hot. I was hoping she wouldn't walk in the Fort Worth temperature, but I see the little kids out there and the older people, and the concept of sharing. Now the meal we had what we call my grandmother's breakfast for lunch. I mean that's sort of an Irish breakfast with everything on
Okay.
it. For lunch. But that's to
Uh-huh.
be celebrated, and I'm enthused enough. I was glad to see the exhibit, the part they showed on TV over in the African American Museum in Fair Park,
Mhm.
and then just continue to learn and to share. But it to me, it's a sadness, but it's a celebration.
Mhm.
And whether I just do it one day, but I always carry it inside, or
Mhm.
whether I go from Juneteenth to July 4th, because I
Mhm.
can celebrate July 4th too, the
Oh
birthday.
yes. Oh, we can
Yeah.
celebrate. Yes, ma'am.
But that's what I did.
Okay, that's
What did you do?
very interesting. And
What did
so
you do?
we had for our lunch, we had TD's barbecue. We didn't barbecue, wouldn't dare even go there in that weather. And so we ordered and had it picked up and everything. And it was really good. We had barbecue beef, what was it, brisket, links. And then
Wow.
I ordered greens and potato salad with mine. And so that's what I had. And it was enough really for 3 meals. And so that
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. And then also I watched Miss Opal Lee. I
Yeah.
watched twice because I had my daughter to watch it with me again, watch her documentary where the young lady that used to be a channel lady, and we know her name, I can't think of her name. She interviewed Miss Opal Lee, and I hadn't seen that interview, and I really got more information about Miss Opal Lee. And of course I knew that they were not going to let her march because they had already really just said it anyway because she's not able to. But her granddaughter did.
Granddaughter.
She was
Yeah.
there, so I don't know whether she rode or marched or whatever, but she
She marched.
represented her grandmother, so that
Yeah.
was good.
She did.
But
She did the march.
yes, and so just learning so much about Miss Opal Lee, so much more than
Wow.
just a piece here and a piece there. Now I've seen interviews uh, when she's had interviews, but this one was super, and it's on a channel. It's WFAA's app.
Yes.
On the app. So
I did
the internet.
the
Yes,
NBC one. I actually, they do a live, live coverage, but I
yes,
watched a lot of the PBS.
hmm
Uh, it's just exciting. But
yes,
what you saw was a living symbolic passing of the torch.
hmm
Uh, Dr. Lee is getting older, so she passes it on to the
yeah.
granddaughter,
hmm
and the granddaughter is surrounded by people of all ages. The
Oh
little,
yes.
the little ones are learning. They are learning by doing.
Uh-huh. And so yeah, she's and she said this is one thing she said. She said at 95, she said I could be called the great grandmother of
That's
Juneteenth.
true. Yeah, that's true.
But I enjoyed it. And then also I watched this movie that came out uh about the Zulu people, the marchers in Mardi Gras in New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
And I
Oh yeah.
saw on Good Morning America where they interviewed two of the men that are part of that, what is it, Zulu Society, something like
Zulu
that.
Nation. The Zulu Nation.
But it's not. It's a society in New Orleans. They call it society. And anyway, the movie is on Netflix, and it talks about them, being I am king, I am king, I am the king. It's something like that. And I should have had it written down, but I've been doing so much this morning. But it's on Netflix and it was released this week. And so anybody, they talk about the past Zulu kings, and then they also talk about how those parades got started. Like they said, they were the second line, and then they ended up having a line of their own. Because I know Natalie and Clee would go, and they would, and even in Kentwood, they would say, "I'm going out and I'm going to see the some women that march." And do they call them the second line or something like that? And they go out and watch these women march. So anyway, it's really interesting, really interesting. So that's what I watched. And then my webcast was about Juneteenth, and also went through all of like Reconstruction and the women's rights and all of that came after Juneteenth, after 1865. And so there was so much. So anybody, if you didn't see the webcast yesterday, June 19th, Point of View with Miss Shirley Polk, you can go and see what I talked about. Okay, so next, should we move on? Okay, who are you rooting for during the NBA playoffs? Do you think your choice will win? So, I hope my choice will win. And like I say, Fresh is over here resting and everything, so I don't really have a dog in the fight. But I would really like for Oklahoma to pull it off.
Well, like you said, I don't have one there either, but I have watched and I have just appreciated the beauty of the game, you know. And I get frustrated. I say, "Oh, it's almost 10 o'clock. Come on, guys, let's get this together. We ain't saying it that way, but uh, it's just shown the beauty of the game. Like they talk about the golf
Right.
tournaments with the high dollar values on them.
Hmm.
Um, that game is good. There's so much that can be said about the Indiana Pacers, but I suppose I'd have to go with Oklahoma because it's close enough. The Oklahoma
Hmm.
Thunder and the Thunder defeated the Mavericks.
Uh-huh.
When you do the Mavericks, it's all going to change now that the Lakers have been sold for $1 billion kind of money. So, but I did want Oklahoma to win. I did, but you
So
know,
you're Oklahoma too, but whoever
yeah,
wins, okay. We're not
yeah.
going to stress
But
over it, right? But
the, the,
anyway,
the
if we have our
proficiency of the game, the very, what you had, it was one of those. Let's see, if we can get teams that made the fewer mistakes. True, you did that, but you also got teams that played as not individual players, but as a group of men who wanted to go forward. That's what
Mhm.
it shows you.
And just like one of the players said, what was the night before last, I believe, he said, not just one person wins the game.
No,
It takes all of them, and
all.
it takes
And
all
that's
of
what
them.
that's showing. You got to play as a team.
That's right. So do you? Let's see. Okay, this alcoholic fatty liver disease. I saw that on Good Morning America too, and I said, wow, because there's so much out here that we just don't know exists. All kinds of medical conditions that people we haven't heard of and never will hear of. But when I heard of this and they said this non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and like cirrhosis of the liver or whatever like that, you could get that when you're not
Mhm.
a consumer of alcohol. And I
Oh,
was saying to someone also, I'm coming back to this, but you can get lung cancer and you might not have ever smoked a
smoke.
cigarette. And just different things that they say cause cancer. And some people have never been a partaker of those things that cause it, but yet they've gotten it. So this non-alcohol fatty, I want to get it into that just a little bit because they say they say it's like a silent killer. Said
Mm.
people don't know that they have it many times until it's there and it's made itself embedded itself. And so I'm going to do just a little bit. I don't know what time it is.
We're at 51:23.
Okay, okay, okay. It's called Understanding Nash. And that is what is Nash? I'm going to have to increase this font here so I can get it right and hope none of these pop ups get in my way, which one already has. Okay, I'm not going to be able to do that. Let me get back to it. Oh, okay. Now, your fatty liver disease could already be NASH with liver scarring, NASH, or what they call it is non alcoholic steatohepatitis,
Wow.
is a serious form of fatty liver disease. It occurs when the fat in the liver becomes toxic in you, damaging liver cells and making the liver inflamed. As the liver, let me, my fun is not big enough, but I don't want to take a chance on that. As the liver reacts to these changes, it gets scarred. So this scarring is called fibrosis. So that's as far as I'm going because people can look it up. It's called NASH. But I want
Okay.
to bring attention to that because I said, oh my goodness. And one young man was talking, they discovered that he had it. And so now they have a medication that they
Good.
can treat it with.
Good.
So I was happy to hear that. But I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. Non alcoholic, what, fatty liver. That's what it is. It's really scary. Everything is scary to me because what the thing about it is we don't know what might be lurking in our bodies. We don't know what's going on in anybody else's body. That's why when we go back like talking about the discussions that we have and everything, that everybody should just treat everybody the way they want to be
Want to
treated.
be treated.
Kindness and love. And that will
Yeah.
help so many people to make it through the things they're suffering through because many people are suffering in silence, and it behooves us to be kind, considerate, loving, and compassionate to the best of our ability. Because here I go one more time, I just want to say that the Bible tells us, it is much that lieth within you, live peaceable with all men. So as much as you can stand to live peaceable, and then if you can't live peaceable with them, then you can always go to your own space.
That's
We're
true.
not obligated to stay in an environment that's abusive and that's negative and that's toxic. We're not obligated to do that. So, okay, I'm done. So,
But I do appreciate you bringing it because we have people that we know who actually are being treated for um, uh, tumors in their lungs, and they never smoked. And the doctors, and she's gone to specialists, several specialists, and the fact that she never smoked, but that her husband smoked for 23 years, I think, she secondhand smoked. was what and
Mhm.
it's causing her problems. But her faith is strong, you know. And these are issues that the Mothers Board will take up from time to time because the health of the community is important to us. Just
Mhm.
the physical health of the community is secondary to our spiritual
Yes,
health.
ma'am. Yes,
So,
ma'am.
and we are destined to share information about both.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so here's one that I know you looked over. Texas teachers are getting a raise during this coming session. How about that?
Not enough.
And as far as I know, it's 5,000 for the year, right? 5,000 extra.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's one quote that I know, and
Okay.
it starts at the beginning of the year. So that's progress.
Oh
That's
yeah.
progress. But teachers, teachers are so special, and they seem to be mistreated by the salaries that they get,
Everyone.
and you
Everyone.
know. Shaping our children and shaping us as we were coming along and all of that. My goodness, when I went into the school to do substitute teaching, I said, "Oh, okay. So this is what I was like when I was in the ninth grade, when I was in the fourth
Oh,
grade."
ooh, no, ninth grade. Ain't go looking up. Bad. Uh, when you mention that, there's a Federation of Teachers meeting here in Dallas now,
Mhm.
and they were at 11ish on their way to demonstrate in front of Ted Cruz's office
Okay.
space. Yes, um, but they wanted to, just to let him know that so much, as you said earlier, Pastor Shirley, so much of what you're saying up there in Congress, we really don't approve of it. We need to just let you know. We're not going to change your mind, but we want to let you know the fact that we are listening. We are listening, and the changes in the state legislature. They've got it all. They're discussing it all. They have all the little committees, etc.
Hmm.
But teachers are very special, and we should
Yes.
all pray for them every day because
Every
there was a
day.
time when they went into the classroom, they were loved. Now we have little kindergartners who shoot teachers who say things that they don't
Oh
like.
my goodness, bless their
Yeah,
hearts.
and
Yes.
yes, but one of the houses didn't give the kid the teaching that he needed. And you're going to have more and more kids bringing guns. You
Yeah.
are. Because what's happening in our real society, in the real world,
Hmm.
more and more things are happening because of guns, gun violence. Guns don't,
Hmm.
but the person, so when you get angry, if you don't have a gun, you can handle the situation differently. But if you are there with someone who does have a gun, then your life
Right.
is in danger. Your life is in
Mhm.
danger.
And so I want to
So
ask you this, Dr. Mack. Did you ever face a serious problem like this? I know some things you probably can't, maybe don't.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some as my husband was always prone to say, um, I just don't know why my wife wants to work in areas that are, you know, that have few problems. It's almost like she seeks out these areas where, where there's stuff going on. And he'd say, and then I have to pray all day for her to get home at night. And I say, and you're supposed to pray through the night that I can get up and go right back to that place that worries you. That's where I was supposed to be. That is where I was supposed to be, even though
Mhm. You made a great impact on the
I don't know, but
children.
I
Oh, you
tried.
did. I'm sure you
I'm
did. 30, what is it, 33 years?
33 years.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes, that's wonderful. And so, Dr. Mack, that's a great note to sign off with.
okay.
And so I have enjoyed this day with you and everybody. Thank you so much, Tina. I say Tina, she knows who I'm talking about. Ollie, Daryl, Lady Patsy, and everyone else is on here with us today. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being here. And please let us hear from you. And if you have something you'd like for us to talk about, hey,
Let us
send it
know.
to us. Send it to us.
And join us on Wednesdays at 1 for the webcast from the Biblical Files of Dr. Mack. We're looking at Second Peter and false teaching. That's the women part. And the blacks in the Bible, we're going to look at Augustus the Hippo, another African church leader who wrote extensively on, he did writings on others, but he did some great comments on Peter.
All right, Dr. Megan. It's so interesting, everybody. So please remember to Wednesdays at 1 p.m. And everything's across the board except Saturday and Sunday. Saturday evening is Greater Gospel Temple, Church of Praise and Worship and Inspiration of God Ministries on 7:39 p.m. for Saturday evening Bible lesson session. And on Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. is Sunday morning manna from heaven. On Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. is Point of View with Ms. Shirley Hope. And I thank you all for joining us, for being so attentive and participating in the conversation. I just really enjoyed it, and I know Dr. Mack does too. And
Yeah,
so we
I
love you
do.
so much, everybody. And God willing, I'll see you. Well, you'll see me tomorrow. And hey, what do they say? If the Lord delays His coming, so hey, I believe in that. So we love you, everybody, and please enjoy the remainder of your day, night, evening, afternoon, morning, midday, whichever it is. We love you.